Imagine traveling thousands of miles for a dream vacation, only to have your entire identity burned to ashes in front of you, by the very people sworn to protect your rights. This is the shocking, true-like story of how officers at an international airport made the biggest mistake of their lives when they targeted the wrong woman. What happened next left the entire country talking, and will make you question everything about power, race, and justice. Stick around, because this story has twists you will not see coming. And before we dive in, if you believe in standing up against discrimination, hit that subscribe button right now, because stories like these need to be heard. Now let's begin. A black woman named Alicia Carter, elegant in her navy blue business suit, stepped off her flight from London into the JFK International Airport. She was exhausted but excited. This trip was supposed to be special. She had planned to reunite with her husband after weeks apart, and tonight they were scheduled to attend an exclusive charity gala. As she stood in line at customs, she felt eyes on her. Two uniformed officers whispered to each other, glancing in her direction. One of them, Officer Daniels, smirked and muttered something to his partner, Officer Blake. Alicia didn't hear it, but the way they approached her told her everything. "Ma'am, step out of the line," Daniel said sharply. Alicia, slightly startled, complied calmly. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked. "We'll ask the questions," Blake snapped. They took her passport from her hands and started flipping through the pages, their expressions growing colder. "So, this yours? Doesn't look like it," Daniels sneered. Alicia felt her pulse quicken. "Of course it's mine. That's my picture, my name, everything," she said firmly, but Daniels shook his head. "You think we're stupid? This is a fake. Where'd you buy it? Some back alley in London." The accusation hit her like a slap. "Excuse me? That's a U.S. government-issued passport. I'm an American citizen." But they didn't listen. Instead, they called over another officer, whispered something, and dragged her to a small security room. Alicia tried to stay composed, but inside, fury and fear battled for control. Minutes turned into hours as they questioned her, mocked her accent, and even searched her bags without consent. When she demanded a lawyer, Daniels laughed in her face. "A lawyer? Lady, you'll be lucky if you're not deported tonight." Then came the ultimate humiliation. Daniels tossed her passport into a metal tray, pulled out a lighter, and with one flick, set it on fire right in front of her eyes. Alicia gasped as the flames devoured the document that represented her entire identity. "Now what, huh? No passport? No proof? Guess you're nobody now," Blake said smugly. Alicia's hands clenched into fists, tears stinging her eyes. But she said nothing, because deep down she knew something they didn't, something that would destroy their entire world. They just burned the passport of the Attorney General's wife. Alicia sat silently as the ashes of her passport smoldered in the tray. The officers thought they had broken her. They thought she was powerless. But Alicia Carter wasn't just anyone. She was married to Marcus Carter, the U.S. Attorney General, one of the most powerful men in the country. And Marcus wasn't just a political figure. He was a former federal prosecutor with connections that reached deep into law enforcement, the FBI, and beyond. Alicia stared at Daniels, a cold smile curling on her lips. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life," she said softly. Daniels laughed. "Is that a threat?" Alicia didn't answer. She didn't need to, because even as they mocked her, Marcus was waiting in the VIP lounge, wondering why his wife hadn't come through customs yet. When she didn't answer his calls, his instincts screamed something was wrong. Within minutes, Marcus had airport security pulling footage, and what he saw sent chills down his spine, his wife being escorted into a detention room by two arrogant officers. Marcus made one phone call, and suddenly everything changed. FBI agents swarmed the airport within 30 minutes. The officers who had burned her passport didn't even know what was coming. They were still laughing, still insulting Alicia's hair, her skin, her accent, when the door burst open. A man in a dark suit strode in, flanked by armed agents. Daniels jumped to his feet, confused. "What's going on?" The man's voice was ice. "You're done." And then Marcus himself walked in. The room went silent. Daniel's face drained of color. Blake stammered, Sir, we didn't know." But Marcus didn't even look at them. He went straight to Alicia, took her hand, and kissed her forehead gently. "Are you okay, baby?" Alicia nodded slowly, her eyes never leaving the two officers. "I told them they made a mistake," she said calmly. Marcus turned to the agents. "Arrest them." And just like that, the officers were in cuffs. But this was only the beginning. Because what Marcus did next would make national headlines and change airport security forever. News spread like wildfire. 2 TSA officers arrested for burning a black woman's passport, only to discover she was the Attorney General's wife. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Hasas Justice for Alicia and Mossas Travel While Black trended for days. Talk shows, news anchors, and even celebrities weighed in. Some called it the biggest racial profiling scandal in years. But Marcus wasn't done. He ordered a full investigation, not just into the officers, but into every single complaint of discrimination at airports nationwide. And what they uncovered was horrifying. Hundreds of similar cases, victims too afraid to speak up, lives ruined because of unchecked abuse of power. Marcus vowed to change that. But while the nation debated, Alicia faced another battle. Anonymous threats began flooding her inbox. "You ruined those officers' lives," one message read. Another said, "Watch your back." Marcus assigned her a security detail, but Alicia wasn't scared. She was angry. She decided to speak out, not just for herself, but for every traveler who had suffered in silence. Her first TV interview broke records. "They thought they could erase me by burning a passport," she said, her voice steady. "But I am more than a document. And so are you." The audience erupted in applause. That night, Marcus received a call from the president himself, praising Alicia for her courage. Meanwhile, Daniels and Blake sat in a federal holding cell, their careers over, their future uncertain. But then, just when Alicia thought the worst was behind her, a shocking twist emerged. Someone inside the airport security system had ordered the harassment. And the reason? Alicia was investigating a secret corruption ring linked to international smuggling. And now, her life was in danger. The aftermath of Alicia's ordeal turned into a political firestorm that shook the nation to its core as the investigation revealed a horrifying truth. Daniels and Blake were not acting alone. They were pawns in a massive criminal network that stretched from airport security offices to powerful politicians with ties to an international smuggling ring worth billions. And Alicia's humiliation wasn't a random act of racism, but a calculated move to intimidate her because someone inside that network discovered she had been working closely with the Justice Department on a confidential corruption probe, making her a direct threat to their operation. And the moment this truth came to light, Marcus went into full war mode, doubling Alicia's security and mobilizing federal agencies. But even that didn't stop the danger because within days of the scandal going public, threats started flooding. Emails saying, "You should have stayed quiet," packages containing burned passports, and one night as Marcus and Alicia were returning home from a televised interview that had broken ratings records, an unmarked black SUV began tailing them through the city streets, moving closer at every red light until suddenly a silenced gunshot cracked through the air and shattered the rear glass of their car, sending Secret Service agents into full defensive mode as an intense high-speed chase erupted through the dark roads, bullets flying, alarms blaring, tires screeching, and when the attackers were finally taken down and dragged out of their SUV, what the agents found inside made even seasoned federal officers freeze in shock. 3 AR-15 rifles, grenades, fake passports, burner phones, and a kill list with Alicia's name highlighted in red at the very top. A discovery that confirmed the unthinkable. This wasn't just about racial profiling anymore. This was an assassination plot orchestrated by people terrified of what Alicia knew. And that night, Marcus stood at a podium before flashing cameras and a stunned nation, his voice like steel as he declared, "This is not just an attack on my wife. This is an attack on justice, on truth, and on every American who believes in equality under the law, and I promise you this, we will find every last person behind this." A vow that triggered the largest federal crackdown in years as FBI raids swept across airports, government offices, and private homes, dragging out corrupt officials in handcuffs while live news cameras rolled, and Daniels and Blake, the officers who thought they could burn a passport and erase a black woman's dignity, now faced the harsh reality of federal court where they sobbed as the judge handed down a crushing sentence of 35 years in prison without parole, while Alicia, instead of hiding in fear, rose like a storm and launched a nationwide campaign called More Than a Passport to fight systemic discrimination, appearing on magazine covers as a symbol of resilience, delivering speeches that went viral, including the one before Congress, where she looked straight into the cameras and said, "You can burn a passport, but you can't burn a person's worth because we are not paper. We are people." A statement that brought the entire room to its feet and echoed across social media as millions rallied behind her cause. And the moment that sealed her legacy came when a reporter outside the Capitol shouted, "What do you want to say to the men who tried to destroy you?" And Alicia turned slowly, her eyes fierce, and replied with the words that shook the world. "Never underestimate a black woman," a line that exploded online, trending globally for weeks. And if you're watching this right now, let Alicia's story be your reminder that injustice only wins when good people stay silent, so don't let it. Share this video, hit that subscribe button, and stand with us against discrimination because one voice can change everything, and that voice could be yours.